A very good night for Arsenal in the Champions League. A good 3-0 win, and that all but confirms our spot in the top 8. I'll go through the league table in a bit more detail. I might even put a screenshot up on screen so you can kind of see what we're talking about as I'm going through it. But Arsenal left in a very good position after that win. And what a night of drama in the Champions League of PSG. Have beaten Manchester City 4-2 from 2-0 down. What a second half in which all 6 goals came in. Look, we're not going to touch on that. But I can't lie, I had an eye on it because it was a big night in Europe. And I think the reason it's important is because it's given context to 2 things. A, what this new league phase kind of means for other clubs. How, in a weird way, what's going on around the rest of the league table affects us. But also to praise Arsenal for having managed this league phase really, really well. The Champions League in Europe isn't something we navigate particularly well. Forget the fact that we've never won it. Even when it was the groups, I remember we'd always make harder work of it than we should. There'd always be a defeat in the groups that there shouldn't be, and we'd have exits, whether it be early or to teams that we kind of thought we were better than, and the teams that we do sometimes beat and go through, like Porto last season, we make hard work of it. So for us to have made the league phase quite a formality, I think it's something we should give the club real credit for. We'll touch on that, and we're going to give immense credit to Gabriel Martinelli because I think this was his best performance of the season, and I think he's really coming alive. And it's not just for his end product, what he did in the final third, so much more to it. So we're going to talk about all that in this video, but I'm going to just refer to my notes. And look, let's just start with the goals. This is a match report. Actually, we'll start with the starting 11. I mean, the big ones was Zinchenko coming in and Kivior coming in at right centre-back next to Gabriel. While I agree with the fact that no one was really calling for Kivior to start in the Villa game, I also did think that for a player you spend this much money on, £20 million, a couple of seasons ago, which I guess in modern football isn't even that much, is it? But, you know, for Arteta not to have trusted him a bit more at times, you could say that's a bit disappointing. But he certainly trusted him tonight. He came in. Timber played about an hour, then was subbed off. He went with Jorginho in midfield. I thought was really good today. Odegaard, Rice sublime as well, with Sterling on the right, Havertz, and then Martinelli. Right, the goals. So the opening goal, I thought there was a really good dynamic between Zinchenko and Martinelli all game. Zinchenko wasn't just underlapping. There were plenty of overlaps, and he was actually giving wide options. I thought the alternating of positions was really good and got the best out of Martinelli. We'll talk about Martinelli in more detail and tactics in more detail, but the first goal was Martinelli taking on his fullback, getting to the byline and digging out a cross that finds Havertz. Now, before I talk about what Havertz did really well here, I want to say that our crossing from those areas has been much better the last 2 games. Leandro Trossard with 2 assists. Was it 2 assists? Yeah, 2 assists against Villa. Both times digging crosses out with his left foot, if I'm remembering correctly. And again, Martinelli. This is their weaker foot. I mean, Trossard's quite 2-footed, to be fair. But really effective. Clearly worked on it. And the movement in the box, much better. And the work we're doing when those crosses are coming in, much better. That's 3 goals in 2 games from that kind of move. So good to see from Arsenal. Havertz, I've got to give him immense credit here because, you know, to some it might just be a touch into Rice's feet. You know, you could say that Rice and Martinelli did all the work, but I think when you're a striker and there's a lot of pressure on you, it can be very easy to just lose composure and just swing a leg at it. He doesn't. He sets it really nicely for Declan Rice. I mean, his awareness of where he is and the set, so that Rice barely has to alternate his position, barely has to adjust, and he just thumps it with his right foot. You know, it's such a good strike, the keeper doesn't move. That's often the compliment to how good a strike and a move can be when the keeper goes, I had no time to react to any of this. And that was the perfect start for Arsenal on 2 minutes. Well done, Kai. He got his goal as well. We'll touch on that in a sec. But a really good assist for Declan Rice. So well done to them, and well done Martinelli as well. Now, Martinelli's then involved in the second goal. Is why I'm really feeling good about this performance and actually how he's been building on them in recent weeks. Now, I felt that Martinelli, it's hard not to talk about the second goal without talking about what Martinelli did really well. Okay, let's just, on the goal, drives inside and picks out a lovely ball to Martinelli, to Havertz. Havertz and Wineri queuing at the back post, but Havertz gets his head on it. Really nice finish. 2-0 around the 66th minute, I think, and we needed that because, you know, 1-0 we were comfortable. Arsenal were comfortable throughout, but it wasn't scintillating, nor was it, you know, 1-0. It's football. It's football. A 1-0 is just always a little bit touch and go, right? No matter how well you're playing. And I just felt that that just killed the game, would have relaxed the stadium a little bit. And again, it was 2 players combining, Martinelli to Havertz, and Havertz was a really good header. A goal and assist for Kai, well taken. Then he came off, and I'll touch on the subs in a sec because I think that was important that he came off. But he did well. And look, I've been critical. Let's give credit. That was, much better box efficiency from Kai Havertz in this game. Still want to see a little bit more from him. I still think the overall all-round game was pretty good. It was better than we've seen. But, yeah, it doesn't change the urge and need for a striker. But let's not go into it in too much detail. This has been one of the few nights we've been able to really praise and just give credit. And I think we should. So well done to Kai. The third goal, Trossard does well to dig out across, but again, it's same area, but this time on his right foot, and it's taken a deflection onto Odegaard, who gets into the box and finishes. Not really much more to say on that. Okay, tactically, I thought it was interesting, this game, because we had more from Zinchenko overlapping, like I mentioned. We had more of Martinelli a little bit central because of Zinchenko's overlaps. And we had a little bit more in terms of forward passes into the half space and running in beyond. I thought Declan Rice made a couple really good runs into the box. We see that with the goal. We see that with a shot that was blocked in the first half. We saw that with him also picking up second balls and driving us forward. I am team Rice as a 6. But if we sign Zubimendi, and that's the kind of player you want at the base, then that's how I want to see Rice used as the 8. Not in the pocket, sort of expected to get into the left half space, really high up the pitch, looking to be, a David Silva type, but actually running into the box late, picking up second balls, driving up the pitch, and playing as more of a box-to-box in a 2. It means readjusting Odegaard's position, but I think the dynamics can still work in that way. So well done. I thought Declan Rice was brilliant. On Zubimendi, I thought Jorginho had a really good game here. He was always looking for that ball in behind, and he was keeping things moving, played some lovely passes, and was good off the ball too. Will Zubimendi, and this is a question to the experts who watch much more Spanish football, will Zubimendi give us that lofted ball over the top of a low block? Will he give us that ball through the lines? I know he'll give us on the ball, composure, quality. I know he can dictate a tempo, I know all that. But can he play that almost Fabregas-esque chipped ball over the top? Can he find the winger in behind? Can he find a run? He found Havertz a couple times. I want to know, if you know that about Zubimendi, we'll do a breakdown if and when it's kind of confirmed we're definitely signing him. Which is looking like we are. But any of you in the comments, please let me know. I want to know if Zubimendi is going to bring that, because I think that's going to be quite important for Arsenal. Right, on to some players I want to touch on. Martinelli, yeah, welcome back, mate. And I think with everything I've said in terms of the tactics, in terms of the better performances from players, in terms of Martinelli's performance too, it's important to say that Zagreb weren't great. I thought the most notable thing I saw from them was a lot of holding faces and a lot of the odd antics. I wasn't particularly impressed by them at all. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just being deadly honest. I wasn't, but I felt Batterino looks a good player. We mentioned him before, and there are some moments on the counter I think they could have hurt us. With all that context, doesn't mean we don't and we shouldn't go too overboard with some of the better performances, maybe. But I really liked Martinelli in this game, and it wasn't just the 2 or the assists and the pre-assist he did really well with. I really like the way he takes that first touch when Jorginho sets him from outside our own area as we're defending. He takes the touch away from the defender and he runs at goal. And rather than running either wider of the goal or trying to play a pass because he's not really challenging himself, he runs at the fullback. Now, the fullback makes a challenge, but you've carried us up the pitch. That, with his work rate, the alternating positions on the inside and the outside. And there was one moment where he played a lovely chip pass, a bit like the assist he got for Kai Havertz. He was trying a lot more of. He was going on the outside and the inside, which was good to see. But when he tried that, when he got the assist for Havertz, you remember in the first half, he tried a similar ball to Odegaard. And I think a lot of us went, ooh, slightly too much on it. Odegaard didn't get there. But Martinelli's face was one of disappointment. He sort of made a gesture like, go for it, run, read it. I kind of like that from Gabby Martinelli. There was a sense of like, look, I'm driving us up the pitch, get to my level. And I sort of rated it, because he was doing everything else on and off the ball that you want to see. And then he tried to have that invention. And so when you're coming with a bit of attitude, I really like that. I thought he had a really good demeanour about him this game in terms of his fight, in terms of, trying to be Arsenal's main man today. But also when he did actually play a lovely pass and someone didn't get on the end of it, he was quite happy to make that clear in some way, it felt to me anyway. So well done to him. On the other end, Raheem Sterling, look, it wasn't a good performance. And this isn't a player who's playing at a very good level. I want to say this about Raheem. It's probably easier to say after a 3-0 win. But this is a player that was a wonder kid at Liverpool. I think broke in at 17, 18 years old. Was fantastic there. Went to Man City for 50 million. Then at City, he won almost everything there was to win by the Champions League. Scored so many goals, playing off the right, off the left, and has played as a regular and a trusted member of probably the greatest manager of all time and his Man City team in Premier League football. So he was a starter and one of the key players for the Centurions. He went to Chelsea, didn't really work, and now he's at Arsenal. And weirdly, because it didn't work at Chelsea, because of kind of the way he left City, and obviously because of leaving Liverpool for City, he's probably not particularly, I don't want to say he's not loved, that's really harsh, but he's probably not got that kind of legendary status anywhere he should. I mean, this is someone who, and not many young players do this, this is someone who stood out for England at the Euros, was probably England's best player at the Euros the year they got to the final and really should have won it. Why am I saying all this? It's nothing to do with his performance today. Why am I saying all this? Because if Raheem's not at the level anymore, if Raheem Sterling is not good enough anymore, that's fine. Not for us. For Arsenal and Arteta, that's, you don't sign this guy permanently and we'll see where he ends up in future. But if he's just not quite up to the pace of Premier League football anymore, or the levels that Arsenal want to be at, look, he's had a great career. He's done a lot more in the game than a lot of youngsters and wonder kids achieve. And even other players with his talent, he's got so much further than most of them. Through his quality, through his hard work, and lots of things. And I just think he's not looking good for Arsenal. He's not, at all. He's looking actually pretty terrible. But I'm not really going to disrespect Sterling or kind of, I'll comment on his performances, but that's kind of it. Nwaneri's back now. That gives us 5 forwards to pick from. We can add another in this window that makes it 6. So Sterling could literally be 6th in line. And I think we should recall Vieira to give us something else in midfield. And that should be enough for the rest of the season. That's how I feel about it. And I'm just not going to, tear Sterling a new one. I think it's important sometimes, apologies, to remind people of his quality and actually what he's done. Because on nights like this, he'll just get kind of ridiculed and laughed at for not being particularly good. But I think there's a bigger picture with Sterling when we're kind of evaluating him in his career, which I know that's not what everyone's doing, but I just felt the need to say it. I think that's pretty much it. I think we ended the game with arguably our best front three, not that we really saw much of it, but Martinelli, Trossard and Nwaneri might be our best front three at the moment. Kai Havertz with his goal and assist might have something to say about that, I understand, but they're the 3 players that feel the most in form. Again, GA for Havertz, I get it. But I'd like to see more of that front 3. I just think maybe it lacks a little bit of presence and you probably do need that in your spine. But, it's just interesting that he wanted to see a little bit of that. Nwaneri looked good when he came on, no doubt. And it leaves us, in terms of the league table, I should touch on this. I'll show it on screen for you all now, so wait, 30 minutes. So, Liverpool top on 21 points, job done for them. Barcelona on 18. Arsenal, who haven't conceded a goal from open play in the Champions League, what an amazing stat, are on 16 points, ahead of Inter Milan, ahead of Atletico Madrid, ahead of AC Milan, ahead of Atalanta, ahead of Bayer Leverkusen as well. Aston Villa are 9th on 13 points, and you can see there's quite a lot of teams there on 13 points. If you go all the way down to the bottom half of the table, or near enough the bottom half, you can see that even Celtic in 18th are only 4 points off us, so they can't catch us with one league phase game to go, but it just shows you that it is all pretty tight. But the big thing is that basically not everyone from 9th down to where are we? Where are we talking here? Yeah, basically not everyone from 7th all the way down to 13th are going to win all their games, and also our goal difference is good. So basically top 8 is all but sealed. The higher you finish, the better seeded you are for the knockout. So that's obviously a reason to keep pushing and finish 3rd. For what it's worth, and we should look at Inter Milan, because we've got Girona away, right? And that's going to be tricky. Inter Milan just won at Sparta Prague, so they have a home game. They're home to Monaco. I expect them to win that. So I don't know if we'll quite finish in the top 3, but top 8 is all but done, which is really good. So well done Arsenal for navigating this competition well. Then I'll leave it there. 15 minutes, wow, on a pretty routine game, but I have quite a bit to say there. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed this match report. Let me know your thoughts, man of the match, in the comments below, please. I think it's Gabby Martinelli. Am I missing anyone else? Let me know. See you in a bit.